No, that's not what I meant to do. Excuse me. Good morning, everyone. As usual, it is a Monday, and so I'm like, ooh, I'm still trying to wake up. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sex with Robin on Split Radio. Split Radio standing for Sex Positive Lifestyle Inclusive Talk Radio. My name is Robin Beach. I am a former stripper, former pro dom, former nurse with experience in cardiology, psychology, and sexual health. And I am currently a sex and relationship educator, coach, consultant, and host of the show with the Split Radio with Mandy. If you were not just watching Mandy's show, she has Many Loves Lunch Hour with Mandy Conant on oh my brain, right the hour before mine. And today she just did a talk on uh, her show's on ethical non-monogamy, but today's topic in particular was like a monogamous couple opening up. And they're actually going to continue that next week because yeah, there's a lot to dive in and a lot to discuss. Yeah, my throat's sore this morning, and part of me is like, "Oh no, am I getting sick?" But my glands aren't swollen, and I had Brandon look down my throat. He says it looks normal, so maybe I was just snoring. I've got my tea, so I'm gonna excuse me for the haggard voice. I'm especially in the morning. I'm kind of haggard as fuck. So yes, good morning, good afternoon, everyone, depending where you are located. This is a live recording. I am located, it's morning where I am. It is 10 a.m., a little bit after because I'm late. Um, on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territories of the Coast Salish and Musqueam Indigenous tribes, colonially known as Vancouver, Canada. Um, and I have to say this, I, I'm always thinking about like the whole land acknowledgement thing, and it kind of feels self-serving in some ways, like, oh, I'm so great because I give land acknowledgement. It's like, what does a land acknowledgement really do? Anyway, so someone had mentioned to me that it's important to give resources as well, and I'm gonna find some more resources for you. The only one that I could think of like right at this moment that I I follow, I need to find the handle for it. Is I'm sure if you look it up, the Wet'suwet'en, um, the name of the handle is Wet'suwet'en something, but it's on Instagram of the Wet'suwet'en territories, and they're constantly like they post a lot, and they kind of do a lot of updates and live streams on what's going on those territories, and they do. I know they do kind of throw out opportunities for volunteering or donations and stuff like that. So look up Wet'suwet'en on Instagram or any of those. I follow them on Instagram, and yeah, I found them to be a really good resource. So feel free to go check that out. What else? Yes, we're on Sex with Robin, and we typically discuss, yeah, sex, kink, dating, anything related to that. And yes, I have Pete the zombie here in the background. He is wearing his bunny head for April. And so, yeah, it's creepy. But he's also useful. He's holding a house plant. Yeah. So this week I wanted to discuss, and this was requested by viewers and listeners. So if you do have requests for a topic, please let me know. I am almost guaranteed to cover it, assuming it's relevant. And so someone had kind of requested the topic of going to like events. When I say events, I guess I mean like queer or kink events, maybe sex positive events, any kind of like alternative lifestyle events or conferences. Going back to these that are starting to open up again since COVID. I'm not going to say like post COVID. Obviously, it's like still a thing, but things are opening up. And at first, I was like, oh, I haven't really. I've only been to a couple of private parties, but last weekend I was away in Portland, Oregon for Kink Fest. which is it's a BDSM conference. It's usually a really big one, and I would still call it a big one. I know they did have fewer numbers this go around for COVID. To my knowledge, I was told it was 1,500 people. So yes, a lot of people, and I know if y'all had listened before, that made me really nervous. I'll admit that it wasn't as worried about getting sick, and this sounds like a shitty thing to say, but honestly, just for me, I feel like the COVID exhaustion is real. It's hard to be like, "You know what? That's it. I'm going." Um, and unless, the sore throat turns into something, I haven't been sick. But we all wore masks. That was a requirement, and there were a lot of um definitely mixed opinions on mask wearing indoors. But I'm like, hey, this is your event. And I honestly myself had mixed feelings. I was like, no, that makes sense. It's a lot of people. It's a good idea to wear masks, especially, to protect those that are immunocompromised or, um, yeah, just trying not to spread shit in general. So I was like, yeah, I get it. It also was annoying. Like, let's be real. It can be annoying wearing a mask. And at a social event to engage in conversation. I do have a little bit of hearing loss in my left ear. Um, and I found that to be a lot more obvious to myself after COVID and people wearing masks. I didn't realize how much I look at people's mouths. I don't know that that's real for a lot of people. I was like, wow, it's weird for me making eye contact. I feel like I'm always looking at their mouth to fill in some of those gaps because I am hearing, but a lot of it can be muffled, and I have a hard time knowing which word they said. Like a word might sound like something else, might be a little muffled. Anyways, um, I was really just glad that I was able to, as a presenter, be on the stage and not have my mask because the projecting and the enunciation. I was like, is it okay? Like if I'm on stage and up here, if I take it off, because I worry no one's gonna hear a fucking word I say. And they were like, yeah, that's fine. So um, yeah, everyone was really respectful about it, like it was a topic of conversation, the mask thing here and there. And some people were like, yeah, it's annoying. And some people were like, yeah, I'm glad they have it. And I'm on both sides of that, honestly. I have mixed thoughts, but it was fine. Like I'm not gonna make a big deal. I'm like, it's fine. It's not a big deal. I don't The way I kind of told my children, because they have said, oh, wearing masks is annoying. And I say, yeah, you know what it is? It is annoying to wear a mask. It's also really annoying for me to wear pants. Like, y'all know me, I'm usually pantsless. If I'm home, there's very little chance. If I'm wearing pants, I put in effort. I feel like pants are obsolete now, but that's what I say. I don't like wearing pants, but I put pants on when I leave the house or if I have a guest over because it's the appropriate thing to do. To adults, I'd be like, yeah, condoms are annoying, but I make sure someone's wearing, something if that's what we're talking about. So like, yeah, that's where I stand. I'm like, yeah, masks are annoying, but you wear them when it's appropriate. If it's your event and you want masks, that's totally cool. I'll respect that. So anyways, yes, we did wear masks, and they had a requirement of being double vaxxed with a booster with a third shot. I didn't hear any complaints, and I was like, yeah, sure. Um, so yeah, I have to say this to those that run Kink Fest, to those that volunteer, like I say this all the time, and I really, because I've been an event organizer and I have volunteered. It is so much work. It really, really takes it out of you. And so, thank you from me to you. Thank you for those that volunteer and organize events. I do understand how much work it is, and it's stupid amount. So if you're at an event and you see a volunteer, like be patient with them if there's something that's going wrong, and thank them. Thank the volunteers and the organizers. Honestly, you know, just do it. Um, I know I was worried about just being peopled out. I wasn't sure how I would feel anxiety wise, because that's a real thing, right? Like, we've been isolated for so long that whether or not we're concerned about getting ill, just being around a lot of people can be overwhelming. So I wasn't sure how I would react, and I I loved it. I was just the whole conference, and I still feel it in my chest and in my stomach. It wasn't so much like yay people, it was more yay, like, our people. That sense of community, particularly within the BDSM community or within the queer community, for myself anyways. Just it was just so heartwarming and gave me all the warm fuzzies inside to just be able to feel comfortable in that shared space. I I have the privilege. In some ways it's a privilege, some ways it's not, about not being someone who lived alone during COVID. Um so, like, I had people, but it was primarily it was my children, and that was a lot. It was a lot. And so it was so nice to be like my adult perverted self. I could bring up adult conversations without I don't know, it was just the space was absolutely amazing. So I'm still having like warm feelings over, yeah, just being around that shared space with the shared community. It was absolutely incredible. um oh, okay, fun stuff I have to share, and I'm not going to say who it was just because I didn't ask the person if I could say who it was. So I'm not going to use your name. If you want to get credit for it, let me know and I'll give you the credit. There was um a staged scene. When I say like staged, it was planned ahead of time, but nobody else knew about it at one of the workshops. They had one person who was part of this staged scene and performance that was in the audience and wasn't wearing a mask. Remember, I said at this event, masks indoors were required. So the presenter says, like, "Excuse me, I need you to put your mask on," and continues teaching the workshop. And like a few times was like, "Excuse me, I asked you to put a mask on. It is required. Please put it on." And the person wasn't putting a mask on. Remember, this is staged, but nobody knew it. And eventually, at one point, the presenter is like, "Okay, I've asked you to put your mask on and you're supposed to. Now I'm going to ask you to leave." And this unmasked person made a big angry scene over it, and then the presenter and the unmasked person got into like a physical fight. And this was a pre-planned scene, and people around had no idea what to do because they're not aware that this was a staged thing, and it turned into like a kink takedown scene. And then they revealed that it was planned. So I was like, what a mind fuck. What a creative and interesting, like fascinating way to take something that's been a very prominent point of conflict in our kind of society with COVID culture and everything like that. And it was really, I thought, I'm like, oh my God, there's so many layers here of how much either fun or maybe healing it might be for somebody. I don't know about the crowd at first. Like, that could be also maybe a sensitive thing, right? But it's one of those things where it's like, this is an issue. Let's take this and just play with it. I thought that was really cool. My opinion. Let me know what your opinions on that would be. How would you react to this? And would you be like upset, being like, "Oh wow, it's like you tricked us"? I'm of the like, "Whoa, you totally had me." um so yeah, that was a thing. It's really cool. um I Yeah, there's a lot I want to mention. And this is about Kink Fest. Let me know if you've been to an event and what your experience was. Um, I I was with someone who was in service. Um, and I know they were okay with me sharing the name Kathy, or Kath was in service to me throughout the weekend. And we had a good 6 hour drive together down from Vancouver to Portland to talk. And we'd been texting and stuff for weeks, negotiating the service and everything like that. And oh, it was so nice. It was so, so nice. It was incredible. I got tea in the morning. I like all the things that I know in previous episodes I discussed, like what service means for me, and just what I need is like someone that makes things easier. I have ADHD. I'm also bipolar, though definitely predominantly manic, and I tend to get a little bit manic at cons, so I need to take care of myself and increase my awareness of my state and do what I can to calm that. And yes, I admit and this is probably another part of the throat thing. It's not good for you. I do smoke a lot more at a con. So I was smoking cigars, I was smoking cigarettes and weed. It's something that does help calm me. Not the best outlet, but it's what I do. That's my body. So, um, yeah, Kathy was absolutely incredible. Absolutely fucking incredible. And I have received a lot of messages on FetLife. If you're curious of my handle, it's just Red Robin. Saying really kind things about the workshops that I presented, and also a lot of people gushing over Kathy, which made me really happy. And I did relay those messages to them. So they were very, very, very happy. Oh, I'm so happy. It was wonderful. I had such a good time. Um, I've got a list of things last night I was writing down of like, okay, what did I want to mention about Kink Fest? What do I want to talk about? Because I have so much to share. Um, I wanted to share some of the souvenirs that I got for myself. It's at a con, I don't always have like a ton of money to spend or anything like that, but I do try to get like at least one thing for myself, if possible. Not just yeah, not just to have like a souvenir, but also I really like supporting the vendors. And here comes my cat, and now she's just on my lap. Hi, sweetheart. She did miss me, and I missed her very much. Okay, I'm gonna share some of the souvenirs. Oh, and I feel I made sure I had cards so I could credit the vendors because I did take some business cards. Togepi, do not rub against the camera stand. Get, I love you so much. There she is, being a goober. I love you. I'll give you more attention after. Okay, check it out. A completely leather black bow tie made completely of leather. I walked past it and I'm like, that's mine. I need to I need to own this. And it was really well priced. And here I will share the info. There's the card. Oh, it's hard to see, but I will share it called Butchcraft, which I think is really fucking clever too. Tressa Major. It says craftswoman sewing, leatherworking, fiber arts, located in Vancouver, Washington. SD Bowser 39 at gmail.com. That's Butchcraft that made this bow tie. And they sized it to me and everything and asked all the right questions when sizing the bow tie for me. Do you plan on wearing this over a shirt? What kind of shirts do you tend to wear, kind of thing? And I'm like, yes, I do have a small neck. And I do not plan on wearing it without, because it is super cute to have like shirtless with a bow tie. That's not my style. I love it on others. I always wear a bow tie with a shirt. And yes, a lot of the shirts that I get can have larger neck spaces because I have a small neck. And yeah, some of my shirts are for men, which just means they have a big neck. Here's the other thing I got. Oh, I don't know if I have the card. Oh, I don't know if I have the card. But this is one of those things. I saw somebody wearing them at the con, and I'm like, where did you get those? I'm losing my shit over how cool it is. Here, oh, tell me if you know who this is, because now I can't find the info for who made these. But legit, I was like losing my shit over it. Check it out. These are earrings. Okay, they're connected together right now. Two earrings. With, I kid you not, it is a legit, real cleaver. They had different kinds of blades, and it has the leather sheath on it, and I can take it off. And it's like a cleaver, and it is actually sharp. It is actually sharp, and it's got the red kind of cherry wood handle. Like, it is a legit cleaver, and there's two of them, and they have the leather sheath, so you can wear them with or without. I'm like, I want to wear them without, but it's scary because they're actually sharp. And so this cleaver, if I can describe it to you, the handle and the blade itself, both together, are about the size of my thumb. Real cleaver earrings, and I am still losing my shit over this. It is so cool, and they even have the little black leather uh sheaths. I cannot. Absolutely brilliant. I'm still geeking out, and I want to wear these everywhere. I wasn't going to wear them today because I got the big headphones on. Still geeking out. I also, actually, this person, I just wanted to share their info. Like, I'm not sponsored by any of these people. I'm just like, yes, I need to share because people need to know this stuff. I found this one person. I don't know if their name is on here, or Mistress Daytona, and was Togepi. You're on the keyboard. I love you. Get down. Was everywhere handing out cards. Anytime they were engaged in conversation with somebody, they'd be like, "Here's my card." During classes too, like, was like really a part of a really great workshop done by Sarah Blaze, about female domination. Had some really cool stuff to say, and then I was in the elevator later and I saw them and I was like, "Oh, I loved the stuff you had to say. It was very articulate and perceptive, and I just wanted to say thank you for sharing what you did." And they're like, "Here, have my card." Like, this person was on it for promoting themselves. So I'm like, "You know what? Fuck it. I'm going to promo you because like they were working it." And yeah, this really cool card that's bright pink, and it says the Kinky Neighborhood Barbie, pro dominatrix, sex relationship intimacy coach, performing and visual artist. I actually would like to, oh, and it says on the back, Mistress Daytona, professional mean girl, with like the burn book. I That's just brilliant. So kudos to you, Mistress Daytona, for being on it. I'm not good at promoting myself like that. I need to improve my my ability to promote myself, because that was impressive. I was like, wow. I hope this person gets a lot of work because they were putting the work in. Kink Fest does have one of my absolute favorite dungeon spaces of any event I've ever been to in North America. If you have, I'm talking public space. Kink Fest, I've always their their play space has always been my absolute favorite. I know I'm totally blowing smoke up their ass, but seriously, the space is deserves having smoke blown up its ass, because they put out like a red carpet that kind of goes through the space, so it provides options for people to walk around. You can spend an entire night without playing and just walking through the space. And so between these red carpets are play spaces set up. And a lot of spaces, like dungeon spaces, it's like, that's the dungeon space over here. Here's the socialization area with some tables and chairs and stuff for you to sit and watch. And it's highly, highly, highly discouraged, typically in a kink space, to go up to a scene and watch. Um, they say, if you're going onto the dungeon space, a lot of events, I'm being vague, but a lot of events, like, if you're going into the dungeon space, don't just stand around. You're going to be in the way, basically. Um, so you're gonna have to watch from over here. But the Kink Fest dungeon space, I always love how they have like red carpets that go through the space so that you can have tons of people just walking around and chatting and watching. Ah, great space. And I did get an opportunity to play. Kathy and I had a scene on Saturday, and it was, um, we talked about it a lot. We really just wanted something primal and physical and connective. And so it wasn't a theatrical scene intended to wow or to have people watch. It was like, no, I want to focus on just us being physical. Um, but yeah, I would look up occasionally and there would be people watching. There are people that just like stood or sat. I saw a couple people just sit on the red carpet and watch. So that exhibitionist part of me was very fed. I do like people watching. I do like playing publicly, knowing that someone could be watching and hoping that people are enjoying watching. But of course, I wanted to focus on the scene, and it was, yeah, it was great. It was absolutely wonderful. Definitely fed me in a lot of ways. Oh, good morning, Peter. He's commenting right now. I'll put it up. It says, "Sound amazing. I so miss BDSM cons." Yeah, truly, it fed me in so many ways. I really forgot. As much as I'm like, I know they're exhausting, especially when you're presenting or working, but it's like I had really forgotten how much it takes out of you. I feel like I'm still recovering. I'm still tired, trying to get extra sleep, but like it can be draining, but oh, like it really fed so many of my buckets that were really running on dry. The sense of community, the sense of just being around people, watching people play. Oh, the scenes, and that's why I didn't play that much, honestly. I just wanted to watch a lot of what was going on. I've got another comment here. I agree. I miss cons so much. So glad to see them coming back around again. Oh, hi, Christy. That was Christy. Oh, I know. I really, really, really miss them. And I feel like after Kink Fest, as exhausted as I am, still, like, I'm like ready to dive back in. I wasn't sure how I felt about that before Kink Fest, and now I'm like, yes, that was amazing and exhausting. Let's do it again. Like I cannot wait for more cons. I'm so excited. Um, yeah, it was, and I have to say this in terms of presenting, because that's like from my perspective, because I presented 3 workshops. Oh, I felt good to present again. The exhibitionist in me loves it, but it's not even just about exhibitionism. I do have a background of a lot of theater. That was a big question of whether I was going to go. It's like nursing or theater, and because I really wanted kids, I chose nursing. I chose to go the stable route, and I don't regret it, because I have found that presenting has met a lot of my performative needs, and I haven't had that in a long time throughout COVID. It's hard because again, like, I'm thankful for Zoom. I am very thankful that we have ways, to have some face-to-face interactions and to have hangouts. I do still enjoy them, and I was happy to try to adjust to doing a workshop over Zoom, but I'm gonna complain a lot right now. Oh, it was very frustrating for me doing a workshop over Zoom because as a my style of presenting anyways, like I said, it's very performative for me, but it's interactive. That's what I love about performing, isn't just like, hey, I'm doing something and people are watching. It's interactive with the audience. My workshops are not going to be the same every time. They are going to be different based on the crowd and the interactions. I'm watching people for laughing. I see a lot of like people nudging their partners as in like, oh my God, you totally do that. Um, for the laughter, and so yeah, I guess that's just my experience with the theater background, and that's what I crave is the interactions. I have up my sleeve a few stories. I might share a story early on in a workshop to gauge the audience's reaction, and then it gives me information on like, okay, how are they going to be comfortable with swearing? Are they going to be comfortable with going really kinky stuff, or do I have to be kind of gentler? Um, so like I have ways of trying to figure out what kind of crowd I have, and then how I present the workshop will reflect at least reflect how I am interacting with the audience. So we got another comment here. I miss cons, but even more like you were saying, I miss community. That was the big thing. Thank you, Grayson. Thank you. Yes, exactly. That was 1,000% what I needed, was that community. But yes, in terms of the performative stuff, it was, to hear a crowd laugh at one of my jokes. Like, like I almost cried. I needed that. I just needed that interaction, and to see someone's face respond, and it's an interactive thing for me. So it was really, really wonderful presenting again. I I was a little rusty with I don't want to say how do I want to phrase this? I feel like the ADHD mania management on stage, particularly the last day on the Sunday, because I was exhausted. And I feel like when I'm exhausted, my ADHD and my mania definitely goes up. So what I ended up doing, because I was actually shaking, and like I have to gather my thoughts, I have to calm myself before this workshop. And right before, I was like actually shaking. So I went outside, I had a smoke, and I put my earbuds in. And I told Kathy, who was in service to me, I was like, I need a moment. It's it's not about you or anything. I just need a moment for myself in order to kind of center myself. And then yeah, show must go on. And it went well. But in the beginning, I was definitely a little bit shaky. I felt like my ADHD was like, it was there, it was present. Trying to remember to slow down, trying not to rabbit trail too much. So I would say overall it went well, but I was a little rusty, and I don't think anyone really cared. I feel like people were just like, I don't care, we're just happy to be here. um, and that was also how I felt. So uh, there's I'm trying to think of, I've got my list that I wrote down of things I wanted to say. I was worried I wouldn't get it all, but it looks like I've got almost all of it. Um, another thing that I found was so healing. Again, coming from the perspective of a presenter, people tend to come up at the end after people are kind of leaving the space to with a question, or just to be like, hey, thank you. Um, and it was very emotional all around, because again, I'm having these personal interactions in person, people that are like, hey, um, that maybe asking a question, or just saying, hey, thanks for being here. And I know part of it's like, okay, is this an egotistical thing of mine where I just want everyone to tell me how awesome I am? So that maybe a little bit of that. Okay, Togepi is super in the way. And this is actually what I was getting to. Someone just commented, thank you, because this is what I was getting to. This comment reads, how was it hugging folks again after it being so long? It was a lot of feels. And there are people that after the workshop might want or need a hug, um, because it is also really emotional for them. And yeah, I would have someone that came to me like bawling, and saying something that to others might seem insignificant, but isn't. I promise you it isn't. Saying something like, and I did get a lot of these people bawling coming to me right after the workshop, saying, thank you so much for using gender inclusive language. I felt seen. I'm going to cry. And I would say, like, is it okay if I hug you? And they're like, yes. And then I would start crying. It was very uh, very emotional and in a healing way, I think. Oh, and another comment here says, "I love how honest and self-aware you are." Thank you. I try to be. Thank you. All we can do is try. Um, I try to check my ego mostly because you get a lot of people at a con. Kathy even said was like, feels almost like you're a celebrity. And I'm like, ugh. But when you do present, there's a lot of visibility, and people be like, "Hey, thank you," and more people are going to recognize you and be like, "Oh, hey, I saw your whatever." So there is a part of visibility, and I am like, I have to remind myself that like, okay, don't let it go to my head. Please don't let that go to my head, because I feel like it feels like it could easily if you let it. Um, but yeah, people coming to me and crying and wanting a hug. In my squirting workshop, I do talk a lot about shame over sexuality, shame over, and I know I've discussed this before. This is why I do what I do, because there's so much shame around the topic of sex, regardless of your upbringing. Like, there's going to be often with our society, the way it is, there's a lot of shame attached to anything sexual. Um, and so, yeah, my squirting workshop is a lot of like, no, if you squirt, that's great. If you don't, if it doesn't happen, that's okay too. Talking a lot about shame. And at the end of every workshop, I say, and I'm starting to say this more now at the end of every show, if your family or loved ones do not accept or support you, I am your family now. And I got a lot of messages actually about saying that specific phrase and being like, you know what, just hearing that was a lot. Because people need to be seen, people need to be accepted and loved. And dude, or if you don't like dude, whatever it is, you, yes, I love you, I accept you. I really, really reject. I acknowledge it, but I want to reject a lot of the shame that comes with sex or gender or anything that is there's just too much of it. It's absolute bullshit, and I see it, I acknowledge it, but I want to help reject and get rid of get rid of the shame. So, just people seeing someone else in person, people just wanting a hug, or people just being like, "Hey, thank you for using gender inclusive language," or "Thank you for saying, hey, this is normal." People need that. And so it's entirely selfless. I loved all the hugs and positive comments. It validated me in a lot of ways in terms of what I do, and I was thrilled to help validate them. So, oh yeah, a lot of feelings over hugging and communicating and talking about real shit. I cannot. I just can't. It was amazing. I don't have another word for it. It was absolutely incredible. Um, also, not only did I present, I got to I got to demo bottom for River Dark. And I say this every time I mention her. If you see her presenting, just go. Like, she's absolutely amazing. And so I got to demo bottom for her, and I was also not sure what I could take. And so I want to say this because I know a lot of others are feeling this way, particularly the sadomasochists. Um, I was like, I don't know if I can handle this pain or how I'm going to process, because I have, prior to Kink Fest, it had been a good like 2 years since I'd engaged in consensual pain. I say that because I do have chronic pain with back and hips, and my ankle's all fucked. That's a whole other story. But yeah, so it's been a good couple years prior to Kink Fest that I had engaged in consensual pain, like sadomasochism stuff, and I identify as a fairly heavy masochist. I've told, like, when I was like River, like years ago, I was like, I'm like maybe moderately masochistic, and because how do you gauge what? I don't know what advanced or like heavy is sometimes. And she was like, later we're playing, she's like, "You're a fucking liar." She's like, "You're a heavy masochist." I'm like, "Am I?" She's like, "You can climax from pain alone." And I was like, "I guess." So I mean, yeah, I probably a pretty heavy masochist. But I was like, I haven't again interacted with consensual pain for so long. I wasn't sure how I would respond to a heavy flogging demo. And when you're demoing, there's not a lot of opportunity for like aftercare or warm up and stuff like that. Like these, and that was something, of course, River and I discussed, and that's something I also discussed with demo bottoms. Like it's not, I'm not going to be able to give you a lot if you need a lot. And so like demo bottoms, if you're going to do it, you need to be able to be like, yep. Um, and so of course I, reassured River. I'm like, you don't have to do warm up. I get it. Like you're teaching a class, you're demonstrating some stuff. Um, and don't need to do aftercare, things like that. Like I'm good. You do what you need to do. And I wasn't sure how I'd handle the pain. And I was like, I'm against. I'm so sorry for like family if you're listening or people that might not be comfortable hearing about my sexuality, but like, yeah, I was like humping the cross, not like actually, but seriously, I was like so aroused, like obviously aroused by this like sudden intense vlogging. I was like so happy and like the crowd could see it. I was like, I missed this. So it wasn't, I was very hesitant. I was like, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to handle a lot of pain right away. I was such a pain slut in that moment. I was like, yes, I want more, 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 more. So I was like, that's nice. Good to know that, I guess for me anyways, and it's okay if it's not for everyone, but apparently the pain thing was like riding a bicycle for me. So so for those of you, like, that might be the case, and it might not be for others. So I I really wanna get into playing. I wanna bottom now. River and I, we did mention, bottoming, but it's hard to find the time when you're presenting, honestly. So we were like, "Rain check. Let's wait till we're not at a con or something like that, and we'll plan a good scene." Oh, yes, here's a comment. "Been so many years since I've seen River. She's amazing." Yes. Yes, I will say it. You see her presenting, go. She's incredible. Um, but yeah, so I got to demo bottom a bunch for her, and that was really, really nice. And I would like to bottom soon, like in a scene, not just demoing, because that was the only bottoming I did. But yeah, yeah, it is exhausting to present because yeah, you're and even just to go to a con is absolutely exhausting. Um, but yeah, you're up early in the morning, you got classes to do, you get very short breaks to eat or rest. Um, and I do, yes, I love when people approach me, and I'm happy to talk to people, answer questions, whatever. But it was like there were times when it was like I don't have the time. I need to have something to eat without being interrupted. So then I would like go to my hotel or try to go somewhere private just so I could have like something to eat without being interrupted. And then go back out there and have the time and the energy to talk and interact with everyone. And then you're as a presenter, you're typically expected to go to parties and to play. Um, and of course you want to. I wanted to. I was like, I want to be up all night. And then you're like, wait, it's like 1 a.m. and I'm gonna need to get up for like the 9 o'clock class. So not a lot of sleep, but oh, so much of everything else. I like to say that cons will feed some buckets, will fill some buckets and empty others. And I feel like it, because it had been so long, it was like it whooshed into some buckets and completely dumped other buckets. So it's a little more exaggerated, I feel like. But that's, I think, just because it's been a while and it's like I almost forgot how exhausting cons are. So make sure you take care of yourself when you go. Try to get some sleep. Try to make sure you eat. And that's difficult. It is very difficult to eat sometimes. You don't always have a ton of food resources at a con. So it was legit like, oh, a muffin. Oh, here's a little like got some boiled eggs and some fruit. Like just a quick, and it's easy to eat food that's not going to give you a ton of nutrients because it's quick and easy. So I do try to eat things that will have protein and vegetables if possible. But like it's one of those things. Yeah, I don't know what else to say other than I can't wait to go to more. If And I will say this, if you are interested in having me present, you need to request or someone else. If there's someone else you want to see River, you want to see I saw Danorama at Kink Fest. He's always fucking incredible. Um so yeah, if there's somebody you want to see, contact an event organizer and request them by name specifically. That is the best way to have that person there. If people are wanting to send me links to like applications and stuff for cons, like that's cool too. That's great. I'm happy to apply, but I'm not always going to be aware if someone's like, "Oh, I really want you to come to this city." And I'm like, "I have no idea what organizations are there or who I would contact." So if you want to send me a link, that's fine. But the best way to get me or another presenter to where you want to go is to request them to an event organizer. Yeah, that's the best way to do it. And they'll be like, oh, maybe they haven't heard of that person. Like, oh, okay, I'm going to look into this. And they obviously want to make the people in the community happy. So that's why I say request me or others, whoever you want to see. Oh, I have one more really, 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 really touching thing I want to share before we go. I'm still emotional over it. Oh, I don't have it on me. Oh, and I didn't ask their permission to share their name, so I will not share the name. Uh, but if you want to come forward and take the credit, please do. A person I'm going to say where they're from Boise, Idaho. I love my Boise, Idaho folks and like the RelateCon folks. What a great community. Um, someone from Actually, I don't know if they're from Boise, Idaho, but it was a RelateCon in Boise, Idaho. So this was before COVID. Like I'm talking years ago. Somebody I met years, plural, ago at RelateCon in Boise, Idaho remembered somehow that I got a paddle. I have a Harry Potter themed paddle that's a Hufflepuff paddle. Okay. I don't know how this person remembered, but they remembered. They made me a Hufflepuff themed keychain, like a chainmail keychain that was with the Hufflepuff colors and had a little Hogwarts. Um, what's the word? Not a Oh, my brain. Like a talisman or a charm. Charm. That's what I was looking for. It was like a little Hogwarts charm with the Hufflepuff color chainmail keychain. Made this for me, held on to it for who knows how long, saw that I was going to be in Portland, and they were there too. Brought it with them all the way to Portland to give to me, and was like, "I made this for you because I remember." And I was like, I am still floored of how much thought and consideration that took. Not just to note and remember that I have a Hogwarts Hufflepuff paddle, and then to make something for me, and then all this time to hold on to it, and then bring it to an event and give it to me. I'm gonna cry. I still am blown away by how incredibly thoughtful and sweet and kind a gesture like that is. That's not a small gesture. Okay, we're talking time. I can't thank them enough. I still am not over it. It is that was the most thoughtful thing I think ever. And ah I'm so touched. So, yeah. Some people have different love languages, and that one is like that one is a lot. That is not something that I am capable of, honestly. Not just to remember, but the thought that someone puts into making something and then holding on to it and then bringing it to another city. I cannot. I can't with how touching that is. It's incredible. So, thank you. I I have no more words for it because honestly, that was amazing. Most thoughtful thing I've honestly like ever seen. So yes, I thank you. Let me know. At this point, I think I'm out of topics again. If you have any topics, happy to cover them. You can message me on any of the social medias or follow me on any of the socials at Sex with Robin. And on FetLife, it is Red Robin. I gotta talk about this because it's amazing. One Condoms, okay, sponsoring this episode. I'm not over how awesome what their platform and their mandate is about having condoms that fit someone specifically. And I have said there's a couple things that I've been like, you know what I want to see from y'all? I would love to see internal condoms, and I'd love to see latex free condoms. But here, listen. And they're like, we're on it. But right now it's a lot of getting the actual size that fits makes all of the difference in terms of efficacy and pleasure. The condoms that are available in stores is what, like two, maybe three sizes available. Honestly, you're definitely going to find one size. If you're lucky, you might find two, maybe three. And these sizes don't really make a lot of sense to me. The standard condom size is 7.5 inches long. That is not a standard penis size, like by any means. And so the people I know that are like, I need a larger condom, it's for the girth. It's too tight, which can be really uncomfortable and cause a lot of things not being as pleasurable. And so they're like, I guess I'll get the extra large condom. And I've learned from Mila Impola of One Condoms more recently that the extra large condoms that you buy in stores are really almost not a lot different in length or in girth. It's the length that's different. And we're like, we don't, some people need the length. Most people need different girth sizes. And One Condoms has over 6 sizes. And you can get your custom size. Just go to onecondoms.com. They have several different options for sizing where you can measure yourself the old-fashioned way. They have a fit kit that is free to download, or there's even if you're not comfortable with measuring yourself, they have a quick little questionnaire that asks you a few questions, and they can offer size comparisons, and they'll send you like a few different sizes based on their estimation. I've ordered some for Brandon of his size, and I can't wait for him to try them out, and he's going to come on the show and share what kind of impact that was for him. So I'm so excited. I really support this. The normalization of various penis sizes. I'm all for that. Oh, we're like over time now. Go check out onecondoms.com. And I did put Mandy's promo code up there because why not? Her promo code is Many Loves, 15% off your custom size condoms. How is this not already a normal thing? Also, recently, the FDA approved One Condoms. It's the only condom to be approved for anal usage. How fucking awesome is that? Again, like normalizing this stuff. It makes me geek out. I think a lot of what this company is doing, honestly, is really really cool. And I wouldn't say that if I didn't mean it. So, yeah, go check that out. And otherwise, thanks for tuning in. Well, let me know. I haven't announced yet what I'm going to do next week, but I'll get there. And please, thank you for your patience. I said I was going to be posting a lot during Kink Fest, and I so didn't. I did not have the time nor the energy, so I got to get back in there. Love you all, and thanks to everyone who attended Kink Fest or was a part of Kink Fest in any way, because it was and still is. I still feel the fuzzies. It's fed me in ways that I really, really needed. Thank you. Mwah. And don't forget, if you have family or loved ones that do not accept or support you, I am your family now. I mean it. And I love you all. Mwah. Take care.
The loose smith is a total sham, and should I say